Hi, hello, and welcome to this incredibly sunny day here on Bondi Beach. Ooh, yeah. Oh, hey, yeah. Volleyball. Woo! It's crazy. Anyway, I just put this shirt on and ran down here in front of this camera that just happened to be here to finish this session, this series on personal finance. This is number 5 of 5 on Personal Finance 101. As I've said in the previous sessions, I am in no way qualified to give financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, fiduciary, chartered financial analyst. I don't have any fancy letters after my name, apart from the letters that show that I can speak a few languages. But if you want to know what to say when finding yourself in a boulangerie in France, this is potentially not the video for you. We can chat about that. Let's take that one offline. Anyway, personal finance. I got into this because I believe not knowing how to manage your finances or financial mismanagement when it comes to your own household can be one of the main things to hold you back from living the best life you could possibly do. It affects relationships, it affects your ability to live freely, to make good decisions, and just to really realize your own potential. In the past sessions, I've talked about 4 different things. The first one was knowing where you're at, knowing your net worth, assets versus liabilities. In the second one, we talked about getting a grip on a system, so a budget or the healthy spending pyramid or the 60-20-10-10 system or whatever it is that works for you. In the third session, we had a quick meeting with the boss, so a weekly meeting in terms of assessing your expenditure and how you're tracking towards those goals. And then session 4 was getting your mojo back, so working on an emergency fund or some special savings. This week, number 5 is something I'm particularly passionate about, is debt. Now, hate is a strong word and I don't use it very regularly, but I really do hate the power that debt has to bring us down. There are obviously different types of debt, different interactions with debt, and it's in the same way that we engage with fitness differently as individuals, we all engage with finance differently as individuals. Some are able to better manage debt than others. All I can speak of is my own personal experience when it comes to consumer debt and that not being very helpful at all. But what are the key things that you can do to help you in your situation in relation to debt, whatever that may be? Well, the first one is, as I mentioned before, to know yourself. When I was in school, one of the things that I was called, amongst others, was Reese OBC. Yeah, nice. I was a bit of a chubby lad. I was working in the tuck shop. I was paid for my time in the tuck shop with tuck shop vouchers. So basically I was eating as a hobby, I was eating as a reward. Whenever I was stressed, I would eat. Whenever I felt lonely, I would eat. Whenever I was happy, I would eat. I just ate the whole time. So I know that when life happens or emotions happen or I have certain triggers fire off in my brain, then I will look to indulge. And if that is the same relationship I had with food, I'll probably have a similar relationship with my spending. So that's something I need to prepare myself for. So when you're looking at your debt or you're thinking about getting yourself out of it, you need to think about how you got there in the first place. What habits, behaviors, decisions, perspectives, thoughts about money have brought you there, because irrespective of what system you put in place, unless you challenge the behavior that got you there in the first place, yes, you'll address the symptom, but the cause will still sit there, and before you know it, you'll find yourself back to square one. I've done it so many different times. Cleared a credit card, and then a few months later, I've maxed it out again. How have I got there? I didn't address the cause, but I addressed the symptom. So know why, first off. Secondly, know what type of debt it is. Is it consumer debt? Is it your HECS debt or your student loan? Is it your mortgage? All of which need to be treated differently. I don't have time to go into too much depth about all of those, but I can speak to consumer debt. If you can, above all else, get yourself the heck out of this. It really doesn't work in your favor. It's robbing from tomorrow to pay for today a lot of the time. I really regret a lot of the decisions I've made by putting things on credit cards. It's made so easy for you. It's made so sexy for you. We have things like street cred, going to schools in Australia, talking to kids about how cool it is to have cred. Yeah, have you got street cred? Have I got street cred? The idea being that we place in kids' minds this idea that getting credit is a good thing, and we all want to think about our credit record, and there's nothing wrong with that, but getting credit cards and treating it as our money is ultimately giving somebody else control over our finances, because it's not just about that transaction, it's about the compound interest and how that absolutely kills us further down the line, but I'll come on to that in a second. So if you're in consumer debt, I would encourage you to bail yourself out of it as quickly as you can in an intelligent way. When it comes to HECS debt, obviously or student loan debt, the margin on that, the interest rate is quite low, so maybe you would treat that differently. And mortgage, when it comes to your home, is an altogether kettle of fish. Consumer debt is the thing I have most experience in. The thing that I have found most helpful is the debt snowball. Dave Ramsey talks about it in Total Money Makeover. Scott Pape in his Barefoot Investor talks about the dominoing your debts. The idea being that you think the most pragmatic thing to do when it comes to getting yourself out of consumer debt, say for example, if you've got 5 different debts, a student loan, 2 credit cards, a car loan, and something else. So you think, right, okay, well, I'll pay off the loan with the highest interest first. Okay, pragmatically, it makes sense. But as I've talked about before, money isn't always about pragmatism. Look at the market when things happen. Look at what happened when 9/11 happened, what that did to the market, what Brexit did to the market, what Le Pen in France potentially becoming the future president did to the market. Money is emotional. We react to it emotionally. So with finances, we need to be able to work with ourselves and find the system that's best going to reward us, get those little dopamine releases coming. So what you do is you don't pay off the debt with the highest interest first, you pay off the smallest one first, stack them up. You throw as much money as you can at that debt and then onto the second smallest debt, then the third smallest debt, and you build momentum much like a snowball. The good thing being, you feel the reward of having achieved something, you feel like you're making progress, and somewhere down in the little synapses, it starts firing in all the right directions and you love that journey. It can be a long journey, and so you've got to make sure you're rewarding yourself along the way. Make sense? Hope it did. Different tools that have helped me are the undebt.it website. I'll put the link down here, or ASICS in Australia, but equally in the UK, you could access it. ASICS Money Planner, and their plans around debt really do. It's informative, it's independent. I learned a lot from it. Undebt.it allows me to map out all my debts against each other, see what the interest rates are, and painfully see, based on the way that I currently pay them off, when it would take me to be debt-free. Man, that was painful to look at, much like looking at my net worth, but it's super freeing, and I now know how to move forward. It's not the nicest, really isn't, looking at how much debt you might be in at any one time if it's been a struggle in the past, but unless you know where you are, you definitely can't move forward. Try it. Compound interest, I mentioned that before. It's a blessing when it comes to savings. Finding a savings account with high interest, putting a certain amount in every single month, and forgetting about it and leaving it there for the long term. I'm talking 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's amazing. Interest upon interest, being paid for putting your money in a place that's safe. Ultimately, having your money work for you. That's the dream, right? Not working for money, but your money growing from itself. The flip is interest upon interest when it comes to credit cards. They're set up to make money for the banks, not for you. It's not meant to make life easier for you. It's meant to be a commercial venture that's going to really bring in a lot of money for the bank based on the fact that we know we're going to spend it. We consider it to be our money, but ultimately we're paying double every time. If you're not careful, paying off the minimum amount every single year, you're going to end up going backwards as opposed to going forwards. I don't have time to talk about it now, but all I can say is I'll put a little link into this a presentation slide about compound interest that I did very recently, and it just outlines it in terms of the difference between saving a little bit every month and putting even just a little bit on your credit card. Before you know it, you're in a real messy situation. Just don't bother. If you feel like you can manage credit cards, okay, I'm not going to stand in your way, but if you've got any form of addictive personality, or if you feel like you've got certain triggers that lead you towards spending, or you've struggled with it in your past, just don't bother. Just forget it, right? Forget it. Your finances, manage it how you want to, but honestly, it's caused me so much pain, it gets me so angry. The second to last thing is communication and accountability. When it comes to debt, one of the reasons that finances pull so many relationships apart is because we don't talk about it. We have this shame attached to money and feel as though it's dirty to talk about it. We might have very skewed perspectives of what it is to accrue wealth based on our upbringing or things that have happened to us or our understanding of the world. All I would encourage you to do is, when it comes to money, join a money group, a regular group where you talk about things that you're doing to help you through your finances, get a money coach, speak to an independent financial advisor, talk to your partner more than anything else about where you're at, so you can ensure that you get it all out into the open. Because when you get something out into the open, it sort of strips it from its ability to cause you any shame, because there's someone else there, a trusted person who can help you move forward. It's all about owning your progress again and finding someone you can trust, like a thought partner, if you will, and an accountability person, someone who will help you work towards the goals that you want to hit. It works for fitness, and it could definitely work for this. So many parallels. And avoid the shame game. So you've got yourself into a situation that you may not like. Okay, understood. But the fact of the matter is, you're owning it and you're moving forward now. Don't thrash yourself with a willow stick. Don't bludgeon yourself because you're in a mess. I hate looking at my net worth sometimes because it's not where I want to be. I'm 34. Like, I should have investments far more than I do now. I should have property. I should be moving forward and being philanthropic. But instead, I am dishing out the mess of the past. And yet it annoys me. But I have to celebrate every success and know that I'm moving forward. And that's the last thing I would leave you with when it comes to personal finance. Celebrate your successes, track your progress, and commit to the journey, because it's not just you that can benefit from it, it's all the people around you and your friends, family, and all those that you could touch in your future life that will benefit from you being able to steward these finances that are flowing through you in an effective way. I love you very much. I really hope this has been useful. Please do put some comments below if it has been, or send me a little message on Facebook or MySpace. If you send it on MySpace, probably not going to get it. I haven't used that since 1995, don't think. But anyway, give it a go. MSN. Hope you found it useful. Personal Finance 101. Scroll through the rest of the blog and see if there's anything else that would add value to your life. I really hope it does. Take care.